As many as 83 people have been killed in Hong Kong's deadly apartment complex fire. Emergency crews are going floor to floor of the densely packed Wang Fuk Court housing complex, searching for survivors. More than 250 people still remain unaccounted for. Firefighters have successfully managed to rescue more than 50 from the smouldering blocks so far. The city's fire chief says crews have almost contained the blaze, which is Hong Kong's deadliest in 60 years. Questions are now being asked about fire safety standards. Vision posted to social media shows the fire starting at the bottom of one of the apartment buildings before racing to the tower's top within minutes. The use of green mesh and bamboo scaffolding saw the fire jump from one tower to the next. Styrofoam placed on windows for the building's renovations is also suspected of fueling the fire's rapid growth. Residents had little time and notice to evacuate. Police have arrested 2 directors and an engineering consultant of Prestige Construction, the building maintenance company overseeing the renovations of Wang Fuk Court. Police say they have reason to believe the firm was grossly negligent, leading to mass casualties. Officers raided the contractor's offices, seizing documents, an employee list, computers and phones.
They are being detained at the moment. Police went to their office to collect evidence and conduct an investigation. The government immediately began to inspect the renovations across Hong Kong with bamboo scaffolding, and the Development Bureau has met with industry to discuss gradually replacing bamboo scaffolding with metal.
Family members of victims have begun the painstaking process of identifying their loved ones using a spreadsheet form on a web page that shows whether a resident is safe, marked green, or whether they are unaccounted for or dead, marked in red. People waiting outside the complex are constantly refreshing the live document, saying it's updating quicker than government briefings. Others are at evacuation centres searching for their loved ones.
My mother is missing. I've been looking for her all night. I've been looking for her all morning. I don't know where she is.
Well, China correspondent Alison Horn joins me now from Beijing. Alison, what are the latest details that you have?
Cass, fire authorities expect within the next few hours they will have completely extinguished all of the fires within this residential complex. More than 36 hours the fires have now been burning, and it's been hampering efforts to get inside those towers to try and find survivors, or more likely those who have died after becoming trapped there. But this is still an active search and rescue mission. We've heard from authorities that in the last few hours they have had contact with at least 25 people still alive within those towers, which is quite extraordinary when you think about the severity of these fires and just how long they've been burning as well. So they are still hopeful that they will be able to find some people alive, but the grim reality is that more than 250 people are still unaccounted for, and it is expected that most of those people will have died after becoming trapped inside. Now, I've been speaking with residents of this complex. They've told of harrowing stories of trying to escape, not hearing fire alarms, whether or not they couldn't hear them or those alarms just weren't working or weren't installed. One man that I've spoken with told me he was at work, but when he heard that the complex was on fire, he rushed home and, in his words, saw the flames leaping out of his window. His entire home has been destroyed. His pets were inside. He believes they're now dead. And we've seen those pictures from over the last 36 hours of residents just lining the streets around the complex, waiting for any news of what's happened to their loved ones. it is likely that today authorities will get better access into those properties to try to continue that search and recovery process, but there are questions around the structural integrity of those buildings. They've been severely damaged by the fires, so this could be a long and incredibly painstaking process.
Now, Alison, there are a number of investigations underway. What do you know about those?
So there are questions that are being raised, particularly around the construction company that's been carrying out those investigations, as we heard from authorities, been carrying out those renovations. As we heard from authorities yesterday, 3 people from the construction company have been arrested. They are facing allegations of manslaughter, with authorities alleging gross negligence in relation to the building materials that have been used around those complexes. We saw the scenes of the bamboo scaffolding, the mesh netting that was wrapped around those buildings that kind of acted like a highway for that fire to be able to race up those buildings and jump from one building to the next, engulfing nearly that entire complex in flames. And we've spoken with residents as well who have told us there had been concerns raised and complaints raised with the construction company about construction workers smoking on the site inside the bamboo scaffolding. We've put those questions to the construction company. We haven't heard back from them yet. I've also spoken with a construction engineer who said he raised concerns about that mesh netting on the outside, alleging that it wasn't fire safe and it wasn't compliant. So there is growing anger amongst both the residents and also, I would say more broadly, the Hong Kong community. We're seeing a lot of posts online questioning how this fire started and who exactly should be held responsible, whether or not that is workers, the construction company, or in fact government officials, whether or not there should be some wider probe into the legislation around building safety standards and construction standards. We haven't heard whether or not there would be a commission of inquiry yet. Certainly on previous other major catastrophes like this, for example, a major building fire in 1996 that killed 41 people, there was a commission of inquiry launched before that. But we are hearing from residents a deep and growing level of frustration for what many have said they believe could have been an unavoidable tragedy.
Alison Horn, thank you. Well, the massive tower fire in Hong Kong has killed at least 83 people, but nearly 300 more remain unaccounted for. Authorities say initial investigations show highly combustible styrofoam was placed over windows on every floor, causing the fire to rapidly spread. North Asia correspondent James Oaten reports.
There's a heavy mood here at Hong Kong's Tai Po district as people try to come to terms with this disaster. Standing here, you get a real appreciation for just how huge these towers are and how ferocious this blaze was. Firefighters are still dousing the buildings more than a day after the flames first took hold, and the air is thick with smoke. You can taste it. Many of those impacted by the fires have been taken to nearby emergency shelters. This woman was inside one of the towers when the fire broke out. She had no time to grab anything but her handbag, her cat left behind.
No, there was no fire alarm at all. When it caught fire, I don't know what happened. It was already a massive fire. It turned into a wind tunnel. There was no saving it.
Authorities are now investigating the blaze, particularly the building materials used during renovations that allowed the flames to spread so quickly from building to building. Those affected have described feeling utterly helpless as the flames took hold.
Sad, shocked, and also, I'd say, quite mad and angry about the whole situation.
I've never once in my life seen a fire that was this big, and it just seemed like the fire was crawling up all of like the green nets, and it was hard to watch.
The Red Cross has been providing mental health support.
A lot of them are in the state of shock, especially when they first knew of the updates of their family members, if the news came out to be very bad. And of course, they are also in this condition, a state of finding it very hard to accept the reality, but we want them to feel that they're not alone. We are here when they need us.
Despite the outpouring of grief, there's also a strong community spirit on display, with people from across the city coming down to help out in any way they can, handing out food, water or clothing. There's a real effort to try and lift the spirits here, despite the grim reality that so many people remain unaccounted for.
James Oaten reporting there. Well, Raymond Chung is a former senior firefighter in Hong Kong who now lives in Melbourne, and he joins me now live. Raymond, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
So you worked as a firefighter. Can you actually believe what you've seen play out over the last 36 hours?
No, it's unbelievable and heartbreaking.
The pictures that we're seeing are devastating for so many. Have you spoken to any of your old colleagues that have been involved in the response to this?
Yeah, for sure, because it's a very prolonged job, and it takes time to call for the duty, say goodbye to families, and grab every chance to rescue the people trapped in there. So we pray, and we have some conversations and wish them all the best.
What are they telling you just about how challenging the circumstances are?
Normal conversation between firefighters are tricky. We just say some very simple words because we know what it is. Just get it through, make it cool.
Can you, having spoken to people who were there, having seen the pictures play out, can you understand how the fire started and how it became as fierce as it did, the scale of it, the speed of it?
It's quite abnormal, a lot of things still under investigations, and we just look at the picture. The fire spread just so quickly from lower ground floors to upper floors, and the whole building towers get on fire well alight and then spread to the others. This is quite unusual.
We know that the firefighters are still actively trying to rescue people who may be alive. They are assessing the structural integrity of the apartment complexes. But what is involved in a mission like that? What will the major challenges be for the firefighters?
Hong Kong firefighters, they have a lot of trainings for tackling these tougher situations for skyscrapers, tall buildings with a lot of halls, and actually have to move down the stairways. Even for people with disability, the aged people, they need a lot of manpower. Travel through floors is not easy, and ventilation as well. And also, they have to do very dynamic assessment all the time, like the human traffic flow, water supply for upper floors, and the stability of the structures. But for this massive disaster, there are other departments to help, like the building departments. They have structural engineers.
We know that the force has tragically lost one of their own in this response. What would be going through these firefighters' minds as they try, with that in mind, but as they also try to save those who still might be alive?
We're just fulfilling our job. When we call on duty, this is our responsibility. We just try all the efforts and do whatever we can do. Before we put on the uniform, we have to say goodbye to family first, and then back on duty, and then every second chance just try the best and use every training and experience to tackle the toughest situations and uncertainties. And we work in teams as well.
You mentioned that the teams, they are well prepared. Just what goes into the preparation and training here? Do you believe that they are fully equipped for something of this magnitude?
Accidents and disasters always happen with different scenarios and circumstances. But you see, hundreds of firefighters work in these situations in an organized manner with a lot of strategies, different angles, different highly division of labors, and to the difficulties that you can imagine, but they're still tackling the situation bit by bit. You know, human efforts compared to a disaster is sometimes it's very challenging.
We've seen the huge amount of grief that is turning to anger in some areas as people come to terms with this there. You now live in Melbourne. You're quite connected to the Hong Kong community in Melbourne. How are they feeling?
Oh, everyone just can't sleep, keep watching the news and want to update and calling families and friends in Hong Kong to check whether they are okay. You know, we're just so worried and we can't do much. Yeah, we just pray for them.
Yeah. Well, our thoughts are with you and your community, Raybon Chung. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.